ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामे। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 21, Conversation between Manu and Kardama. So, this chapter is divided into 7 parts. Text 1 to 5, Vidura inquiring about Manu. Text 6 to 12, Kardama Muni, he receives darshan of the Supreme Lord. Then text 13 to 22, Kardama Muni offers prayers to the Supreme Lord. So prayers by Kardama Muni. 23 to 32, 23 to 32, Lord speaks to Kardama Muni. Right. Then 32 to 33 to 37, after speech to the Kardama Muni, Lord disappears and Manu arrives along with Devahuti and his wife. Okay. Then 38 to 44, there is a description of beautiful Bindu Sarovar. And 45 to 49, Kardama Muni very gladly receives Manu. So these are the 7 sections. So the first section was text 1 to 5. Vidura inquires from Manu about Manu. And from 6 to 12, we are in this section currently. Kardama Muni is going to receive the darshan of the Supreme Lord. So yesterday we have seen how Kardama Muni, he performed bhakti in trance and propitiated Lord, who is here being described now. So we come to text 7. So Lord is now pleased to show his form to Kardama Muni. So text 7. Tada samadhi yuktena kriya yogena kardamah samprapede harim bhaktyam prapanna varadashusham. Translation.
During that period of penance, the sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. Purport. The significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga meditation for 10,000 years just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. Therefore, whether one practices yoga or speculates and does research to find God, one's effort must be mixed with the process of devotion. Without devotion, nothing can be perfect. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said that one who constantly engages in Krishna consciousness is the topmost yogi. The personality of Godhead Hari also fulfills the desires of his surrendered devotee. One has to surrender unto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Hari or Krishna in order to achieve real success. Devotional service or engagement in Krishna consciousness is the direct method, and all other methods, although recommended, are indirect. In this age of Kali, the direct method is especially more feasible than the indirect because people are short living, their intelligence is poor, and they are poverty stricken and embarrassed by so many miserable disturbances. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, has given the greatest boon. In this age, one simply has to chant the holy name of God to attain perfection in spiritual life. The words Samprapede Harim mean that in various ways Kardama Muni satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari by his devotional service. Devotional service is also expressed by the word Kriya Yogena. Kardama Muni not only meditated but also engaged in devotional service to attain perfection in yoga practice or meditation. One must act in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Remembering is meditation also. But who is to be remembered? One should remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only must one remember the Supreme Person, one must hear about the activities of the Lord and chant his glories. This information is in the authoritative scriptures. After engaging himself for 10,000 years in performing different types of devotional service, Kardama Muni attained the perfection of meditation. But that is not possible in this age of Kali, wherein it is very difficult to live for as much as 100 years. At the present moment, who will be successful in the rigid performance of the many yoga rules and regulations? Moreover, perfection is attained only by those who are surrendered souls. Where there is no mention of the personality of Godhead, where is their surrender? And where there is no meditation upon the personality of Godhead, where is the yoga practice? Unfortunately, people in this age, especially persons who are of demoniac nature, want to be cheated. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends great cheaters who mislead them in the name of yoga and render their lives useless and doomed. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is clearly stated in the 16th chapter, verse 17, that rascals of self made authority, being puffed up by illegally collected money, perform yoga without following the authoritative books. They are very proud of the money they have plundered from innocent persons who wanted to be cheated. Very Krishna.
So here, Tataha Samadhi Yuktena, Kriya Yogena Kardama. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Your voice was breaking heavily because maybe I thought some connection problem somewhere. Kriya Yogena Kardama, Samprabede Harim Bhaktyam. So here, during the period of penance, and how long? The 10,000 years of penance, Kardama Muni, he performed different types of devotional service. Kriya Yogena Kardama. Kardama means Kardama Muni. And this is how he satisfied the Supreme Lord, Harim Bhaktya, by devotional service. And who is the Hari? He is the quick bestower of all the blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. Prapanna Varadashasham. So Prapanna Varada Ashu. Very, very quickly, the Lord will give the benediction to those who seek the protection of the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the significance of the meditation. And because Kardama Muni is performing the mystic yoga meditation, he performed for the 10,000 prolonged period. So in yesterday's Harinam class, Radhesham Prabhu was describing about this, that in the previous ages, holy name is always powerful. But in the previous ages, because the people had a very long lifespan and their body was very tenacious, they were expected to do far more than just the holy name. Right. So we see that Dhruva Maharaj performing austerities for, severe austerities, along with chanting the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And as the age progresses from Satyayuga to Treta to Dwapar to Kali, the people's bodily strength, Anudinam, day by day, things will become rasa. There will be kshinata in every aspect of one's life. And therefore, in the age of Kali, the most recommended process is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Iva Kevalam, Kalau Nastaiva Nastaiva, Nastaiva Gatiranyatha. And therefore, Prabhupada says, one's efforts, even if now here Kardama Muni is in the Satya Yuga and he is performing 10,000 years of meditation, but these efforts has to be mixed with the process of devotional service. Otherwise, one will never reach the target of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Bhakti has to be added to other processes. Bhagavad Bhakti in itself is complete. Bhagavad Bhakti doesn't need Jnana and Vairagya. Bhagavad Bhakti in itself is complete, but other processes are incomplete without addition or without taking shelter of devotion to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a beautiful verse. Bhagavad Bhakti hinasya jati shastri japastapah apranasya eva dehasya mandanam lokaranjanam. In further, Srila Prabhupada says, therefore, when Lord is explaining Dhyana Yoga, he explains that the best of the yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma. So the Lord has very elaborately described how to do yoga. Shucha udese pratisthapya, go to the jungle, sit. Ati nicha, ati ucha asana should not be there. Eyes should be half closed, half open. One should concentrate on the tip of the nose. And the Lord explains Dhyana Yoga, but then he reveals his mind later. What he reveals his mind? He says that yoginam api sarvesham, amongst all different types of yogi, madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo matah. That the Lord is especially recommending devotional service. And Prabhupada says, what to speak of other ages? In age of Kali Yuga, the condition is very, very bad. Very precarious condition of the living entities. Prayena alpayusha sabhya kalo asmin yuge janah mandha sumandamatayo mandabhagya upadritah. Prayena alpayushah. People are very short-lived. Sabhya kalo asmin yuge janah. Manda, people are very slow. Sumandamatayo, people are especially so slow for the spiritual realization. Mandabhagya. Mandabhagya means bhagya will be very, very less. We previously used to hear that people used to work only for the 4 months and whole year they were engaged in their harikatha and everything. Nowadays, husband has to foam at mouth, literally work for 12 hours a day. Wife has to work and everybody has to work, all 12 months a day. And still people are under EMI and everything. And people are hardly financially free before the age of 50, 55. Right. So mandabhagya and upadrita. Upadrita means always disturbed. And this disturbance is so very high. Recently, just day before yesterday, very, very reputed and very amazing person he was actually, one neurosurgeon from Sholapur. He committed suicide. Upadrita, right? And we stay in the Solapur side only. My father was saying, he was in tears practically. He had treated thousands of patients and hundreds of them without even charges also or with minimal charges. But the material world is very strong. Material world is, upadrita. So this is always disturbed. So what to speak of? And therefore, Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya proposed a method. What is that method? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This process of chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can attain the perfection. Further, Srila Prabhupada explains, Samprapede Harim. That means in various ways, the Kardama Muni satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Kriya Yogena, by engaging in Kriya Yoga, that is devotional service, Bhaktya, different. And what are the different ways? Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Pada Sevanam. So, Prabhupada, 2 points Prabhupada makes here. One thing is that although one may be yogi, unless he takes shelter of devotional service, he will not attain the final destination. Second point is, devotional service is Kriya Yogena. Devotional service is not some sitting meditation. No, one has to engage. Rishikesha Sevanam. The Seva aspect has to be there in devotional service. And third point, Prabhupada says, if the Lord is impersonal, what kind of Seva you will do? That means the Lord is the personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The personality is very important. So Kardama Muni lived for 10,000 years. Not lived, he performed the tapasya for 10,000 years. But in this age of Kali, it is very, very difficult. And therefore Mahaprabhu, he comes and he gives the process of engaging in devotional service. But in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada writes, people are misled by so many unscrupulous men who invent different types of methods, and in the way of inventing such methods, people are simply misled. Atma sambhavita stabdha dhanamana madanvida yajante nama yagyaste dambhena avidhipurvakam. So people, they engage in some activity, but dambhena avidhipurvakam. And therefore it is very important that one follows the process of devotional service and not to be proud of one's money, thinking that I will pay some money to some guru, purchase some mantra, and then my spiritual needs are taken care. Just like I have insurance for my material wealth, I have paid some, some few thousand rupees to some Baba, and he will take care of my spiritual, he's my spiritual insurance. So that is not the case. One has to apply oneself to the genuine process of devotional service. Text 8. तावत् प्रसन्नो भगवान् पुष्कराक्ष कृते युगे दर्शयामास तं क्षत्तः शाब्दं ब्रह्म द्ववद्वपुः. Translation.
Then in the Satyuga, the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to that Kardana Muni and displayed his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas. Purport. Here, 2 points are very significant. The first is that Kardamuni attained success by yoga practice in the beginning of Satyuga, when people used to live for 100,000 years. Kardamuni attained success, and the Lord, being pleased with him, showed him his form, which is not imaginary. Sometimes the impersonalists recommend that one can arbitrarily concentrate one's mind on some form he imagines or which pleases him. But here it is very clearly said that the form which the Lord showed to Kardamuni by his divine grace is described in the Vedic literature. Sabdam Brahma, the forms of the Lord, are clearly indicated in the Vedic literature. Kardamuni did not discover any imaginary form of God as alleged by rascals. He actually saw the eternal, blissful, and transcendental form of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So now, tavat prasanno bhagavan, and then being pleased, krute yuge, in the Satyuga, pushkaraksha bhagavan, the lotus-eyed pushkaraksha, the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, revealed his form to Kardama Muni, and the form which is Shabda Brahman, which is understood only through the Vedas. In the purport, Prabhupada says, one has to note the 2 points here. The first one is that Kardama Muni attained the success by yoga practice. Somebody will say, Prabhuji, look at Kardama Muni. He did yoga practice. I will also do yoga practice. So, yoga practice here means performing severe type of yoga to attain the ultimate destination. Okay, that is the yoga practice. We are not against devotees doing yoga. In fact, most of the devotees do yoga every day, right? So, we do some Surya Namaskar, some pranayam, this and that. Here, when we say Kardama Muni performing yoga practice, he's performing the Ashtanga yoga practice to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so here, the yoga word has become so trendy nowadays that it should not be misunderstood in what context the yoga practice is being spoken. So we very much recommend yoga practice, means yogasana, to everyone. And most of the devotees, they do yogasana or some form of exercise to keep the body fit for devotional service. So first thing Prabhupada says, the yoga practice performed by Kardama Muni, Ashtanga Yoga, was suitable for Satya Yuga, where people lived for 1 lakh years. That we know. Satya Yuga, 1 lakh years. Treta, 10,000. Dwapar, 1,000. Kali, maximum 100. So this is how the time, is the lifespan of the people decreases as the age, Yuga advances. And the second is, Lord is pleased to reveal his form. Sometimes people say, Prabhupada says here, that sometimes impersonal is, they say, no, Lord is impersonal because you are a personality. You can assume the form that is suitable to you. Because you are a two-handed man. You are assuming your God is two-handed, like Krishna having some flute or something like that. No. So the form of the Lord is not assumption of a devotee. This we have seen last time also. That Varahadev appeared or Narsimhadev appearing. The form of the Lord is not assumption of a devotee or even a demon. The forms of the Lord, they are called as Shabda Brahman. That means they are eternally glorified in the Vedas, right? Vedic literature, and they eternally exist in the Vaikuntha planets. So this is very important. They are not some, Prabhupada is strong here, and Prabhupada says, They are not some imaginary form alleged by some rascals. Now, Prabhupada writing this purport 60 years back, and the word rascal was a very common word. The dictionary meaning of the word rascal is dishonest person. Over the passage of the decades, the connotation of the words also changes. So when Prabhupada is using rascal, is like very, lovingly calling person a dishonest man, and that was a to go to word in 60 years back. So, but such people, they will say, no, he was imagining. So Prabhupada says, no, there is no imagination of the form. This is very important. Now, there will be a Ganapati festival coming. In Maharashtra, they will show Ganapati in so many different forms, and which is actually against the contrary to the scriptures, because Ganapati's form is also explained in the scripture. There's Ganapati Asarva Shirsha, which very clearly talks about how he has a Chaturbhuja and this and that. But people will show Ganapati standing on the, to make it little more social and to more inclusive and other things. But one should not play with the form of the god or even the demigod. That is the important point. Okay, so this is the second point Prabhupada says here. Text 9. Satam virajam akar kabham sitapadmo jalastrajam snigdhalila snigdha nila lakavrat viraj kwajam virajombaram. Translation.
Kardama Muni saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is free from material contamination. In his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, wearing a garland of white lotuses and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with silk dark locks of curly hair.
Yeah. So now Bhagavatam will take the opportunity to glorify form of the Lord. What is the form of the Lord in which he appeared? Kardama Muni saw the form which is free from material contamination. There is no material contamination. This is the Amalam form of the Lord. Right. And then he was effulgent like the sun, wearing the garland of the white lotuses and the water lilies. So, this is now the different dressing of the Lord, right? So the Lord's garland is different now here. Clad with the spotless yellow silk, and the lotus face was fringed with the slick dark locks of the curly hairs. So, this is just like movie will describe the actress, or something like that. Now here, the form of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavatam is describing. Text 10. Kiritinam kundalinam shankhachakra gadadharam shvetotpalakridanikam manasparshasmitekshanam. Translation.
Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch, disc, and mace in 3 of his hands, and a white lily in the 4th. He glanced about in a happy, smiling mood, whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees. Hare Krishna.
Now here, Kiritinam Kundalinam. He had the beautiful Kundala, Kirita, and he has Shankha Chakra Gada in 3 hands. And this time there is no Padma. This time the Lord is carrying white lily. Okay, beautiful. So, you know that there are the forms of the Supreme Lord, and when we do Sandhya, there are, like Om Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnave Namaha. So there are 24 forms of Lord Vishnu. And these 24 forms of the Lord Vishnu, they are, very specifically with which hand, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, that sequence, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. And, you will see this. And change the sequence of Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and the Lord's form is a different name. Right? So this is, if you know, this is 4 factorials, 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So this is 24, and this is how the position of Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and there are these 24 prominent Vishnu forms of the Lord. in Pune, there is a Parvati temple. And if you go to Parvati, there are these 24 forms of the Lord. There is a Vishnu temple. And, there are 24 names and sequence of Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma is also given there. Okay. Of course, you can get it, but just it is there. So now here, the Lord is not having Padma in his hand. He's having white lily he's carrying. And some curly hairs, they are coming on his forehead. And this kind of a form, this is how he appeared. Very happy, very smiling mood, whose sight captivates the heart of all the devotees. Manas Parshas Videkshanam. Right. So this is how Kridanikam, in a light, sporty mood, the Lord is. Manas Parshakshitekshanam. So one has to enter in the mood of the Lord. This is the mood of the Lord. Manas Parshakshitekshanam. Text 11. Vinyasta charanam bhojam amshadeshe garutmatah drashtva avasthitam vakshah shriyakaustubakandharam.
Golden streak on his chest, the famous Kaustubh gem suspended from his neck, he stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda. Purport. The description in verses 9 to 11 of the Lord in his transcendental eternal form are understood to be descriptions from the authoritative Vedic version. These descriptions are certainly not the imagination of Kardama Muni. The decorations of the Lord are beyond material conception, as admitted even by the impersonalists like Shankaracharya. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has nothing to do with the material creation. The varieties of the transcendental Lord, his body, his form, his trace, his instruction, his words, are not manufactured by the material energy, but are all confirmed in the Vedic literature. By performance of yoga, Kardama Muni actually saw the Supreme Lord as he is. There was no point in seeking an imagined form of God after practicing yoga for 10,000 years. The perfection of yoga, therefore, does not terminate in voidness or impersonalism. On the contrary, the perfection of yoga is attained when one actually sees the personality of Godhead in his eternal form. The process of Krishna consciousness is to deliver the form of Krishna directly. The form of Krishna is described in the authoritative Vedic literature, Brahma Samhita. His abode is made of Chintamani stone, and the Lord plays there as the cowherd boy and is served by many thousands of gopis. These descriptions are authoritative, and Krishna conscious person takes them directly, acts on them, preaches them, and practices devotional service as enjoined in the authoritative scriptures.
Vinyasta charanamboje. The golden streak on the chest, the Srivatsa, famous Kaustubha jewel that was hanging, and he stood in the air. Now look at this. The Lord he's standing in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda. If you remember the previous form of the Lord is, when the form is revealed to the Chatushkumar, the Lord is having Padma in the hand. He is sportingly, revolving Padma, right? And his one hand is placed on the shoulder of Garuda. Now look at this. It is not, one has to really enter deeply into the descriptions here. So the form which was revealed to the Chatushkumar, where the Lord is standing, with his hands on the shoulders of Garuda, he's standing like that. Now here, the Lord is standing in the air, and his lotus feet are on the shoulders of Garuda. So he's in that form. The Lord appeared here. The Prabhupada says in the purport that these are authoritative descriptions. The Visheshata, which is like Guna, Rupa, Leela, his instructions, the words of the Lord, they are not imaginations of the devotee. And this is accepted by the ultimate impersonalist. And who is that? Shankaracharya. Adi Shankara, he says, Narayano Paro Vyaktat. That Narayana, the personality of Godhead, has nothing to do with the material creation. And therefore, anything and everything in relation to Lord Narayana is beyond matter. It is spiritual. And that Visheshata is spiritual variety. It is not the imaginary material variety imagined by some person. No. It is not like that. Prabhupada says, and surely not by Kardama Muni. After 10,000 years of severe tapasya, you don't want to see some false, imaginary, manipulative, speculative form, right? He has put in serious investment in to get the darshan of the Lord. Right. Somebody is performing 10,000 years of tapasya. Just imagine somebody is investing in stock market for 10,000 years. And later you say, oh, you will get some check of a bank which doesn't exist. I say, come on, I did not do investment for all this. Correct. So there is a severe investment by Kardama Muni. 10,000 years of tapasya. Prabhupada says, after 10,000 years of tapasya, Kardama Muni is not interested to see some imaginary form. Right? The forms are explained in the scripture, Shabda Brahman. And especially, Prabhupada says, in Krishna consciousness movement, we propagate the form of the supreme form of the Lord, that is Krishna. And that form is also very beautifully explained. Chinta mani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu suravera vipalayantam lakshmi sahastra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So the Lord plays there as a cowherd boy and is served by hundreds and thousands of the Lakshmis. And this form, a devotee, Prabhupada says, directly takes on, Prabhupada says here, these descriptions are authoritative and a Krishna conscious person takes them directly, acts on them, preaches them, practices them, and ultimately is destined to live his entire life eternally along with the Supreme Lord at Golok Vrindavan. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Prabhupada. Thank you,
everyone. Hare
Prabhuji. Thank
Krishna.
you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.